Hello everybody, today I'm going to be talking about my vinyl collection. I've been collecting vinyl since about April, and the majority of these were actually my parents' records that they had collected through the years, but I've inherited them and filled out their collection with some of my favourite albums as well. So today I just want to go through some of my favourites, give you some recommendations just like I did with my bookshelf. So let's get started. So I'm a big fan of the Beatles, and this soundtrack album to the Beatles Cirque du Soleil show, Love, is in my opinion the best way to get into the Beatles, and it is one of my favourite Beatles albums, although I don't think it can really count as it's really a compilation album and not a studio album by the Fab Four, consisting of hit after hit, and they have melded together into a double album that I just love. I got this record at JB Hi-Fi for a really good bargain for a double album, $50 I think, or $55, and it also comes with this large full colour booklet with words from Giles and George Martin, who were the producers of the record, and George Martin was the producer of all of the Beatles albums as well. So that is a really nice addition to go along with the double LP. I'll limit myself to only mentioning one more Beatles album, as it is my favourite, and specifically in the format of the vinyl, it just works really well. And that record is Abbey Road. I literally have a poster of it above my record player. This record, its reputation precedes it really. Chronologically, it was the last recorded album by the Beatles, and they utilised the album format spectacularly on this record. Of course, one of my favourite pieces of music ever is also on this record, the side 2 medley from You Never Give Me Your Money to the End. The first time I heard this, it was like a religious experience. It was awesome. I recommend, if anything else, you just listen to the 16-minute track of the 50th anniversary Super Deluxe Abbey Road. I have two 45 RPM singles, only for the purpose that I wanted to have some singles to see what it was like. So I found in the dollar bin a Cliff Richard single and the Romantics song, What I Like About You. This song I knew, so I was like, okay, I'll get this one. This song just sort of fell into my hands. I was like, okay, cool, keep a hold of that just to see what it's like to spin a 45. On to another artist who is just an absolute blast from the past. I have two David Bowie records, Ziggy Stardust and Aladdin Sane, arguably his two best and most well-known albums. I've read that Ziggy Stardust is a loose concept album, but to me the concept is just so clear and beautiful, and there's so many gorgeous songs on this record. For example, well, really all of them. And the penultimate track, Suffragette City, is one that I've used in my circus routines time and time again, because it just slaps. This copy of Aladdin Sane is interesting. This one cost me a little bit more. It cost me $75 because instead of having a cover, it's a picture vinyl with two photos of David Bowie as Aladdin Sane. This record is like Ziggy Stardust, but just more bombastic and awesome. If you want to get into David Bowie, I recommend Aladdin Sane if you want a more diverse range of Bowie's ability to do different types of songs. And I recommend Ziggy Stardust if you want to listen to an epic concept album. I want to discuss an album that I found in a second-hand bin at a record store that just blew me away, and its contrast between piano ditties, ballads, and hard rock have just kept it on constant repeat on my turntable. And that album is Queen, A Night at the Opera. I was never really into Queen before I got this vinyl. I thought I'd give it a try. Honestly, mainly because it's the album that has Bohemian Rhapsody on it, and I just wanted to hear that on a record. But after hearing this record, I'm definitely going to be on the hunt for more Queen albums. In that same record store, I found Wings at the Speed of Sound, which contains my favourite song of all time, Silly Love Songs. And as soon as I saw it, I was like, gotta have it, I've gotta have it. Every song on here is catchy, weird, much like the back of this album, and now I'm on the hunt for more Wings albums. Out of the 4 numbered Led Zeppelin albums, I have the even numbered ones, which in my opinion are the best ones. Led Zeppelin 4, or Untitled. Led Zeppelin 4 is a hard rock fantasy adventure. Of course, the most famous song off this record being Stairway to Heaven, and probably the most famous Led Zeppelin song. I recently used the second song in the album, Rock and Roll, in my One Man Circus show, and it works so well to bring up the whole energy and awesomeness, and it just worked as a great piece of soundtrack. As you can see, I definitely have a way more vinyl than I showed. So if you would like me to do a part 2, where I show you some more of my favourites, I'll be happy to do so. Just let me know in the comments down below. If you want to see my full collection, I'll leave a link to my Discord page in the description. If you enjoyed the video, like, subscribe, do the YouTube things. You know. Okay, awesome. Bye.